Hi, everyone. Lisa Myers, the Business Owner's Advocate, and I am starting a new training series. It's called Your Business Setup, and these are going to be vital steps to start your new business. One thing I found that when I graduated from cosmetology school over 25 years ago, um, 90 days out of school, I was owning my own business. Bad mistake. I had no clue what I was in for. I did not know how to negotiate contracts. I did not know exactly what I was signing, and I just didn't know what I didn't know. And so, what I found over the years through costly mistakes, through business classes, through coaches and trainings, I found systems to help me in my business. And a lot of those mistakes, I'm going to go through them with you. So hopefully I can help you so that you are not going to spend a lot of money that's needless, and that I can be of service. I love helping businesses. I've always had a passion to help businesses. And so I work with the trade industry. What does that mean? Those that are graduating from school with some kind of, it might be a trade degree through, it could be construction, it could be through health and wellness, through beauty, it could be anything and everything. One thing I know is that they teach you the trade of the business, but they don't necessarily teach you how to set up a business. And that's what I found out when I started mine. And so I hope that this helps. I would love some feedback. You can find me on Facebook, the Business Owners Advocate, as well as YouTube. These will be uploaded to YouTube. And I'd love to hear back from you. I'd love to do questions with you and just be of help and service. So what about getting set up? First of all, we need to make sure that we have everything in order. And the reason why I'm saying that is that I've heard horror stories. I've been in some partnerships that went wrong. I had one client, one friend that she was setting up a oil business, essential oils. And when she went to get insurance, she did not have the building that for what she was doing. And it literally, the insurance was so high, it put her out of business. And she'd already spent thousands and thousands of dollars of setting up this business, getting the branding and everything, but waited to get the insurance, and it literally put her out of business. So today we're going to just talk about how to set up an entity. The first question is, I really don't have any clients. I'm just getting started. Should I just be a sole proprietor? Do I need a DBA? Should I be a LLC? Should I be a S Corp? Really, what type of a business setup do you need? Now, one of the things I want to put in here is that I am not an attorney and I'm not a CPA. And these are just things that I've learned over the years, and I'm just going to share these with you. I would totally invite you to contact me. I can show you how to get set up very easily with a very, very cost-effective way to talk with attorneys in all 50 states and Canada through a company called Legal Shield. And I'd love to share that information with you as well. So let's get started. So first of all, what are some of the vital steps of creating that? Again, do you need to be a sole proprietor, LLC, a corporation? What's a C Corp or a S Corp, or are you a nonprofit? And understanding those things. One of the things that I know is that I used to teach these young kids. It was through a program where they worked with kids that were about 12 to 17, and we would do this exercise on understanding, what the corporations were. And this one young kid, him and his cousin had rockets. They were building these rockets to shoot up in the air, and they wanted to teach these teach their friends how to build these rockets. And so we got to this point, and I was teaching them, and trying to make it as simple as possible. And I said, okay, you have this business and I get hurt, and when this rocket goes up, and so I decide I'm going to sue you. Well, of course, you, because you're under 18, don't have, the legal ability. And so I'm going to go after your parents. As a sole proprietor, I can sue you and everything you have, and I can go after your parents and sue them for everything they have. And he's like, well, that's not very nice. I was like, exactly. And so then I put a chair between me and him. And I said, now we have an LLC, a limited liability corporation. It gives us a little bit more protection, but with a little bit of work, I could still go after you and I could still go after your parents. And then we talked about a corporation, an S Corp or a C Corp. And a lot of times S and C are also things that use in accounting to determine how you're going to be paying your taxes. But I says, now we've got two chairs between us. I says, it's a little bit harder, and they call it, a corporation veil. However, if you don't have it set up right, and if you're commingling your money and you're not keeping it as a separate entity, I can break through that veil and I can still come after you. So that's why it's also very important to make sure that you got your corporation set up for whatever that looks like. And then also that you've got the right insurance as well. Now, nonprofit too. Are you a nonprofit? Do you, what does that look like? So what are the problems and versus the solutions? And do you want to do it yourself, or do you want to pay to have someone set it up? And it can be very cost effective. However, to do it yourself, it's not really that expensive. You can have it done for probably under $100. Now I'm here in Utah, so I'm going to use Utah's laws and that, because and kind of walk through that with you. But depending on your state, you're going to have to find out some information, and you may need to look at talking with an attorney or an accountant to have that set up. Okay. So here are some websites and resources that you can go through. Utah Gov, /business. We're going to go through that in just a moment, and I'm just going to walk you through a little bit of information on that. Also getting that online corporation, getting that set up. And then Ann Lobos, she is a CPA here in Utah, incredible. And she can work all across the United States. She works with North Star or taxnorthstar.com. But one thing I love about her too is that she's very generous in asking, answering questions and so forth. And she could be a great resource for you. And then I talked a little bit about Legal Shield. So Legal Shield allows you to have unlimited consultation with attorneys. You can send in documents to be reviewed, and you can ask them questions on what would be best for you for a very small amount. And you can find that on going to the website and I'm an associate with them at lisamyers.wearelegalshield.com, or feel free to give me a call and we can talk about it as well. And then if you have any questions. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and share the other screens. I'm just going to kind of walk you through what that looks like through the utah.gov. Okay, so the first one we're going to go through here is that if you go to Utah Gov, and depending again on what state you're in, and that you would go to this website and you're going to click on business. Okay. Here it's going to ask you, it's going to just ask you a few little questions in that. And right here, you can select your business structure. Now, one thing I like about this is that it allows you to have some questions on what you need on that business structure. So you can get some information before you decide what you want. But like it says, make sure that you maybe talk with an attorney or accountant or financial advisor, or tax advisor, and I can connect you with them as well. So it gives you some guidelines on what is a corporation, right? Preparing articles of corporation. Now, the one thing about corporations is that you need to have articles of incorporation. And so that also is those questions that need to be asked before you set up a business. What does it look like? Are you going to have shares? Are you going to have stock? Do you have partners? And if you do have partners, it's always essential. I'll tell you this right from the get-go. It's always essential to make sure that you have partnership agreements and that are looked over by attorneys, because it's one thing I always say about businesses and setting up businesses. It's so easy to get everything in order when there's no money involved. But once you launch that business and once you start bringing in some money, it's so hard to backtrack, because one partner might agree that, hey, I brought in the investment, I brought in the money. And then the other partner is like, well, yes, but I brought in the skill and the knowledge. And so how do we monetize this, right? Well, we've got 50-50%. Okay, other questions. What happens if one of you pass away? Then are you working with the family? Are you now the wife, or the husband is now your partner? Do you have a buyout agreement? What if one decides that you no longer want to be in this business? Can they sell their shares? And now you're working with a completely different person that you did not even want to work with. So there's essential questions that need to be asked. And that's why it's always good to talk with a professional, get those questions answered, and that before you even launch your business. You might have this great idea. I know so many people that go in with their cousins or with their family or with their friends, and sometimes it works out beautifully. But they also have, before they ever got started, they had structure on what that looked like. How is that organization going to be? I had one gentleman that he needed some money. He had his friend was just retiring, and so he invested into the company. Well, they did not have a very clear action plan, and it cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to go through legal now afterwards to split up that partnership. So it's so crucial, especially if you're ever looking at a partnership. Sit down with somebody that can ask questions, that might be a third party, and so forth. So, go through and ask, what is a corporation? What does that look like? One thing about corporations, my husband and I first of all, we had K.L. Myers Inc. as a corporation. It was an S Corp, and we were both employees. And so we got W-2s. We did different filings and so forth. So there's some tax advantages to that. Understand that. But you also have to have minutes. You have to have, maybe yearly board meetings and so forth. And then there's the nonprofit. It can ask you about nonprofit, as well as, okay, what is a limited liability company? This one, you don't have articles of corporation, you have members, and it's different than, but you can also file, so this is more for the accounting side, is you can have a limited liability company and file as an S Corp, right? But understand what the different things are that you're going to need. And then also sole proprietorship. This really, if you're going to go into business, even if you think, okay, it's just a hobby, I'm just going to be selling a few things and that, you are putting yourself at high risk to be just a sole proprietor. I would invite you to go to, at least step into the LLC. And then a general partnership. This one, make sure I would, look at an LLC partnership and not a limited partnership. So one mistake I made, my friend and I, we decided, okay, we wanted to be partners, didn't understand really the LLC as much. And so we thought, oh, well, we need a limited liability partnership. Wrong. So what happened with that was that when you have a limited partnership, means that one is the face of the business with the liability, the other one is kind of like the silent partner that has less liability exposure. So you want to make sure exactly what you're doing in that. And so this can answer those questions. What about a business trust? Do I want to be completely separate? And there are certain ways that you can set up businesses to where you can have a trust control the limited liability. And so again, thinking about when I was talking with that young kid, gentleman, and that way we put chairs, right? And so the more chairs that you have between you, then the less liability you have that's coming after your own property, if you will. However, it can be very costly going through and having all of these drawn up. So you have to look at, look at costs as well. And again, I would love to sit down with you and just strategize. I offer a free 1-hour strategy session, and then I've also got some different packages and so forth. So there's this one, and let me go into, I'm not sure if I can, okay, so we're back here. So say that I want to register a new business. I'm going to click on here, and it's going to take me. Now with my company, I had Kale Myers LLC, and I wanted to do a DBA, the Business Owner's Advocate. So by doing that, it was very easy. I could click on doing this on a line, and I'll just kind of walk through that just a little bit. So that you understand, it's not that difficult. They want you to create an account. So you create an account, and once you create an account, it's going to ask you a few questions. Now, when you do a DBA, if you've already got a corporation doing a DBA, you're going to need to know for Utah the entity number of that corporation, and then it's going to autofill in that. So it basically connects. A DBA in Utah with the corporation is only $22, so it's very cost effective, and then they're tied together. So let's go back and let's go back here and say you're going to do a one-stop business registration. Again, it's very easy. It's just going to ask you different questions. And right here it says you can register your new business. It's going to register you with the tax commission, the Department of Commerce, and the Workforce Services at the same time. So again, you're going to want to create an account. And it will show you how to get that account set up and so forth. And you can get that signed in, and then it's going to ask you certain questions, right? And so, of course, I can't go through with that without setting up that account, but it's really, it's not super difficult, but you need to have questions. You need to have the answers to the different questions first, because there's a one-page member articles, if you will, for an LLC. And there can be a 3-page or a page for incorporation. But if you just kind of do it haphazard, it can really bite you in the end. And so again, I just want you to know that I'm here to help and to answer any questions that you might have. Again, Lisa Myers, the Business Owner's Advocate, and I'll take you back to the resources again. Let me go back, let's see, right here. So if you want to just quickly take a picture of that, you can. Where you see these spaces right here, that is actually an underscore. So just understand that those are underscores. It wouldn't show up on the screen. So again, thank you. You have an amazing day, and I look forward to talking with you.